Good morning, algebra students. Welcome to your first snow day slash Moodle day for the weather for this year. So we're going to give this a shot. Hopefully this records well. Here's just for your information, we're going to go ahead and do the RFC test on Tuesday. So now you can come in and expect to have the RFC test on Tuesday. We're still going to have our chapter test on Thursday. Okay, so we're going to move on to section 5-3 in your book, and we're going to be able to write some equations using slope-intercept form and use slope-intercept form for graphing and a bunch of other information. Some of this stuff we've already looked at, so I think you'll find it fairly straightforward. Okay, so this stuff is very important, okay? You're going to see this in algebra, you're going to see it in geometry, you're going to see it in college algebra, you're going to see it in trig, you're going to see it in statistics. This is very foundational, so if you don't get it, you need to ask questions. Okay, so this is called slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is in the form y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, and b is your intercept. Okay, so let's remember this, write this down. Y equals mx plus b, m represents the slope, and b represents the y-intercept. Okay, so we're going to learn how to write some equations given this information. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to be asked to write an equation, and it's going to give you, so anytime we need to write an equation, we have to find two things, the slope and the intercept. The first format that you're going to see is when they give you the slope and the intercept. So you can see this problem here. Go ahead and take a moment to read it. Okay, so what's our slope? Right, we need two things, slope and intercept, and our slope is 2. Our intercept is 6. Therefore, we can go ahead and put it in the format y equals mx plus b and plug in the information. Y and x don't get filled in. Okay, so y and x stay y and x in your equation. This is representing for all values of y and all values of x. When you plug in different values of x like we did with our tables, you'll get an output value of y. So looking at these 4 choices, one of these is correct. Which one is it? We have here listed a y-intercept of -3 and a slope of -4. Correct. The one in number 2 has -4 format plus b. So there's your 4, and then your b is right here. Notice because it's your b, it's plus, but because this was a -3, it's written as -3. Moving on to the next type of problem you'll have. Write an equation on a line that has a slope of 3 and goes through the point 2, 1. Yikes, I thought we needed 2 things, right? We need slope and intercept. We don't have the intercept, so we're going to need to find it. We can use this point to plug in for our values of x and y. Remember that ordered pair is always written in the format x and y. So we can then plug these into our equation and solve for the unknown of b. So we're going to remember y equals mx plus b, plug in the m, plug in our y value of 1, our x value of 2, and then we can solve for this unknown of b using our equation solving skills. 3 times 2 is 6. So you can see here as we go through the steps. All right, so we multiplied 3 times 2 first and got 6. We're going to go ahead and subtract 6 from both sides. And then we get b is equal to -5. Now we have both things, slope, intercept, and we can plug them into the equation there. Okay, so now the last form you're going to see is writing an equation on a line that goes through 2 points. Okay, so we don't have slope or intercept, right? Those are the 2 things we need, but we have enough information to find them. The first thing we have to do is find the slope. Remember, slope is the formula m is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, you can see there. And so this was our x2 y2, sorry for my poor writing. Okay, so then you can see those values. Y2 was plugged into here, 2, y1 is right here, plugged into this value, same thing here. Remember, when we subtract the negative, it's like adding, so we should get 1/6 for our slope. Okay, so now we have slope, and then do you remember how we found the intercept? We need slope, and we need our intercept, and we don't have it. And then it doesn't matter which pair you pick, either one. Okay, so choose whichever point you would work, you'll get the same b. Okay, and you can see here that I prefer to use positive numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and use those. So here's my x and my y. I'm going to plug in 1/6 for my slope there. Okay, 4 divided by 6. You can multiply everything by 6. You can just use fractions. So we have 2/3 here. We're going to subtract 2/3 from both sides, and we get 1 1/3. Again, we can leave it as an improper fraction as well. Okay, so another option is we could have then multiplied this whole thing by 3 to get rid of the fractions. So we have 6 is equal to 2 plus 3b. If you subtract 2 from both sides, you get 4 is equal to 3b. Now we divide by 3, and we get b is equal to 4/3. Okay, so now do this one on your own. So write an equation on a line that goes through the points 0, 1, 1, 4. Remember, we need 2 things. We need the slope and the intercept. How do we find the slope? Using the slope formula, y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay, and then how would you find the slope? The intercept, this is going to give you 3. So already we know that these 2 are not options. And we can pick a point. I'm going to pick 0, 1. So to find b, we use y equals mx plus b. We're going to pick one point to put into here and put our slope and then solve for b. So I'm going to use 1. Remember, y is the second term right here. So I'm going to use 1 is equal to 3 times 0 plus b. 3 times 0 is 0, so we get b is equal to 1. And now we know our correct answer. All right. Okay, so we can do this form. We can find the slope and the intercept when we're just given the equation. So they give us the equation y equals 3x minus 7, and we can use this to identify the slope. So what is the slope? Right here, and the intercept is right here. Remember that plus and negative, so then you can identify if your intercept is positive or negative. So we get 3 and negative 7. So we have this one. Where's the intercept? What do we do here? It's 0. One more example. Right here, there's no x value. So this is saying that our intercept is 5. And then there is no slope, or the slope is 0. Okay, so now you'll also see a problem where it's out of the form of slope-intercept form, and you need to get it there to identify the slope and intercept. So we're going to be using our equation solving skills to get it in this format. We're going to isolate the y, or solve for y. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and subtract 5x from both sides. We subtract 5x from both sides. On this side it eliminates, and on this side, since it's not a like term with 6, it just becomes 2 terms next to each other. Okay, so we still need to isolate y, so we need to divide by negative 3. Don't forget the signs. This was a subtraction, so this needs to stay with the y as a negative. So we divide by negative 3. And then we can simplify as necessary. See right here, the 6 and the negative 3 simplify. And then you can now identify that our slope is 5/3 and the intercept is negative 2. Okay, let's try it one more time on your own. Go ahead and isolate y on your own. Okay, we'd subtract 2 from both sides. Then we're going to divide everything by 2, and we get y is equal to 2x minus 1. So now we can identify our slope and our intercept. Remember, it's now in the form y equals mx plus b. So m is the number or coefficient in front of the x, and b is our trailing constant. Okay, multiple choice. All right, so now let's graph using slope-intercept form. Okay, so we have, this is our intercept, and this is our starting point. We see here it's positive 5, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my starting point. Here's my slope, and remember I can write this as 2 over 1, and we have rise over run. So I'm going to rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run and I don't have a straight edge. But you would see something, it would come down like this. Don't forget that it continues on both sides, so you need arrows. And there you go. All right, so now I have another one. Notice here, this is subtraction, so now I'm going to start at -2. Down to -2 is my starting point. And my slope is also negative. So now I'm going to go rise over run, I'm going to go down 1 over 2, down 1, and down 1 over 2. Okay, so you could then draw a line connecting these points, and don't forget, continues infinitely in both directions, so you need arrows. All right, now here's two special cases, y equals 5 and x equals 5. This slope-intercept form, you can see 5 is our intercept, and there is no slope. So this is a straight line, and it's our horizontal line, because y is always equal to 5. So x equals 5, this is a special case. This is saying that the slope is undefined here, right? So x equal to 5, we're going to go ahead and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and x equals 5 means that x is always 5, and this is our vertical line. Those are the two special cases that you need to remember. Okay, so we have